NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell was interviewed last night by Mike Tirico in advance of the Hall of Fame game. And I watched it as it was happening, the raw interview. It was being piped into the green room where we were in Canton. Goodell was very emotional, as you would expect him to be. And at times he had trouble holding it together, as you would expect. And it really, not that we need to understand what happened because something completely incomprehensible happened, but it really comes to life when you see it shake a man that never seems to be shaken by anything.
Yeah, I thought, Mike, I agree with you with the emotion of Roger Goodell. I don't think I've ever seen him like that. And he was emotional, but I still think his comments were pitch perfect. What he had to say about the police officers and the New York City police in general, what he had to say about the NFL employee who was injured, and I think important, he said it multiple times, we don't understand it. We're trying to make sense, but we're trying to make sense of it, but it's senseless, and we don't understand it, but we're trying to move forward. I just thought everything he said during that interview with Tirico asked him great questions, and Goodell was I thought he was as perfect in that situation.
Here's a little snippet from that interview. Roger Goodell talking about personally attending the funeral that was held yesterday for the NYPD officer who was slain in the attack.
First, tremendous loss. You see the officer's family, his young children. It's something that happens in the line of work for police officers, but that never makes it easy. He was made a detective first grade today as a honor and a promotion, which is well deserved for his bravery, and somebody that we see outside the building when we come in most every day. And it hits home, the loss, the unnecessary and unexplainable loss, and it's something that all of us, as New Yorkers, feel great pride in the NYPD and what they do, and all our first responders. So it was a difficult, emotional afternoon, but also a tremendous, heartwarming service for him. There are no excuses for those senseless acts. They're hard for all of us to understand. When it inflicts pain on people you know and people you care about and people that we deal with on a daily basis, that's particularly hard. But as you know, these acts of senseless violence and hatred are happening around our country and our world far too often in schools, in churches and synagogues and in other places that this should just not be happening. But we all have to continue to be vigilant and do what we can to protect ourselves, and the NFL is going to do that with our employees and with our people. But also remember, this attack is far more than on several individuals. This is an attack on humanity. This is an attack on our communities. This is an attack on New York. This is an attack on our way of life. And all of us have to do more and make sure that we're doing everything to get help to people who need help, and also to take the necessary precautions. And I assure you, our employees are going to work hard. We're going to carry on, maybe with broken hearts, but we will carry on.
I was at the game last night on the sidelines talking to some of the people who work at 345 Park Avenue, and I picked up a couple of things, and one dovetails with something Chris had learned from sitting next to a lady who works at 345 Park Avenue, that there has been this fear that something like this could happen with so many former players who may indeed have CTE, who may have grievances against the NFL, whether it happens at the league office, whether it happens at a team headquarters, whether it happens wherever, coaches, players, individuals who have become, in the mind the poison disease mind of the killer, the villains that need to be neutralized in some way. So they've had this on the radar screen. There's only so much you can do, though, to secure a building in New York. And, at some point, the NFL may have to be away and have a compound that is a secure facility that you just can't walk into, that has a perimeter fence with guards and barbed wire. I mean, it may get to that point. And in the short term, apparently they may not be able to do the replay function this season out of 345 Park Avenue. They may have to go to NFL Films for that. It's just one of the practical realities of putting the pieces back together after something like this happens. But this is a big deal for the NFL, and it happens just days before the first event. And football is going to keep going. Last night's game was a prime indication. No matter what happens, football is going to keep going. But it's going to be a very difficult time for the people who are in charge of the sport to address some tough questions and answer some tough questions about functioning going forward.
Yeah, and this is the time, Mike, this is the time to start raising those questions. When something like this happens, you go over everything that you do. You go over your routines and you try to figure out where the loopholes are or where the flaws are. It still doesn't stop, as Roger Goodell said, it doesn't stop the violence that is happening, not just in New York, but all over the country and all over the world. It doesn't stop it, but maybe there's something obvious that the NFL hasn't done that it will now start to institute going forward. That whole compound, in a way, you're surprised that it doesn't already exist, right? I mean, it would make sense for the NFL to start thinking like that.
Well, and they may have no choice. I noticed increased security last night at the game in Canton, but it gets back to the point, Michael, that we made on Tuesday. If you've got somebody who's got a semi-automatic rifle or an assault rifle and the cops have 38s or Glocks, it doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And I heard from an NYPD officer who's a viewer of the show, and he was assigned at St. Patrick's, and he had a Glock, and he was always concerned he was going to be outgunned. So that's part of it, too. You can only increase security so much to defend against somebody who has decided he's going to give his life when it's all said and done, and he's gotten access to a weapon that is stronger than whatever he's going to face. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.